podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, whatever time you are listening to this. It's time for another opposition preview as we look forward to our game away at Bristol City on Saturday. In order to do that, we've invited Ben from the Robinonstour YouTube channel. Hey, Ben, how you doing, mate? You all right? Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, no, I'm doing good. Looking forward to the game on Saturday. Obviously, good to have football back. And yeah, thanks for having me on.
No, thank you, mate. Thank you. And yeah, definitely looking forward to it. I'll be there as well. I don't get to as many away games as I would like, but I will be propped up in a bar somewhere, probably about 10:30 in the morning on Saturday. So very much looking forward to that.
Yeah, nah. I mean, like I said, I missed the first game as I was away in Turkey, so I'm glad to be back. I'm sure we'll talk about yesterday's game in the cup, but hopefully the game on Saturday is a little bit better.
Yeah, we certainly will. We certainly will. But before we get on to your sort of first two games and looking ahead to Saturday, just tell us a little bit about obviously the way you ended last season, the summer, and your hopes for this season more generally.
I mean, we ended last season quite positively, bar obviously the last game where we got hammered 4-0 at Stoke. The last couple of weeks of the season were quite positive, and we were quite looking forward to heading into the new season. And then obviously pre-season came around. I'm pretty sure we were unbeaten in pre-season, and from what everyone saw, it was again positive going into the season. We hadn't really lost anyone of great significance. Obviously, there's the rumours, well, not rumours, sort of the guarantee that Tommy Conway's leaving now. So we've had to fill that gap. But we've brought in, obviously, Armstrong from QPR and Fali Mayulu from France, I think it was. And then, like I said, we haven't lost anyone of great significance. We brought in some players that, can really improve us, especially in that sort of attacking area where we lacked this season. I mean, I'm sure you saw from the games we played against you, so many times we just couldn't create any chances and do anything in the final third. So that's sort of what we've been targeting in the summer. Obviously, our backline last year, especially the second half of the season, was quite good. Obviously, with Rob Dickey and Zach Viner, they were solid at the back. So, the summer was quite good. And I think heading into the season, we were all just hoping for another improvement of last year. So I think it was an 11th place finish last year, 11th, 12th. So I think we were aiming for sort of top 10 this year. And on Saturday, I'm sure we'll go on to it, but really disappointing not to start the season with 3 points, and probably should have been 3 points as well. Yeah.
And we certainly will touch on the first two games and sort of performances, but you touched on there your two new signings. I'm not even going to try and pronounce the French lad's name again, but I am pretty well versed in Sinclair Armstrong in terms of what he is and what he's about. I know quite a few QPR fans, and their point of view was that they were disappointed to lose him, but that was kind of one story, if you like, and on the other hand, they were like, I can't believe we've got as much money for him as we did. What's your view on Sinclair Armstrong and what you've seen of him over pre-season in the first couple of games?
From what I've really liked him, but then again, I have only seen probably about an hour or so of actual compared to football of him. But what I've seen, I really like. Obviously, he's that strong sort of target man, but then on the other hand, he's also fast and pacey. I mean, I was speaking to a QPR fan last night on the championship group, and he was saying the one thing that let him down at QPR was his end products and finishing. And we've seen that with so many strikers at City over the last few years, and we haven't seen that yet from Armstrong. He hasn't had a chance to sort of show us that. So obviously, come 10 games in or something, it could be a different story. But from what I've seen so far, I really do like him, and he's similar with Fali Mayulu as well. He's sort of tall, strong striker with a bit of pace as well. I'm just hoping, they both have that end product that we've been missing over the past couple of years that have probably held us back from being one of those teams, pushing for top 10 and maybe even a bit higher.
Yeah, we'll see how it plays out. Whenever I've seen Sinclair Armstrong, I would describe him as just dangerous. Someone that, as you said, he's got all the physical attributes to cause any team's problems. I think just whenever I've seen him, it's been his finishing that lets him down. So let's see how he gets on with you. So you also had a change of manager, sort of, not too long ago. I know the Championship's a bit of a merry-go-round when it comes to managers, but what's your take on Liam Manning?
Again, it's a weird one because from the end of last season, obviously, it was a lot more positive than what we saw under Nigel Pearson, and we were just playing that more attractive attacking football. And you thought he's a new manager, so it's going to take a bit of time to fully gel. And I think we still haven't fully gelled in a fact that we're not winning games we should be winning. We're creating more chances than we were, which obviously is a bonus. We're getting into the final third more than we were, but we're just not. We're sort of one pass away, if you know what I mean. One pass away from scoring more goals, winning more games. So I'm just hoping that comes with the new signings. We've got Scott Twine in the works and a West Ham youngster, George Earthy, I think, as well, that is pretty much confirmed, but not confirmed yet, if that makes some sense. So that's two attacking midfielders hopefully coming through the door by the end of the window, which maybe might help us, with that final pass in the final third, but we're just going to have to wait and see.
Yeah, Scott Twine's an interesting one. We've been linked with him before. Has he been on loan to you before? Or have I made that up? He has, hasn't he?
End of last season.
Yeah, so that'll be an interesting one. I think he's definitely got something to prove for me at Championship level. But if he can find a home, I'm sure he will. So let's talk about then. You've touched on their recruitment. You signed 2 strikers. You're looking at attacking midfield now. Your back line is pretty solid. I tend to agree. I'm a big fan of Zach Viner, actually.
Yeah.
Big fan. I think he's got all of the attributes you'd want from a modern day centre back. But talk to me about then your 2 games. So 1 league, 1 cup, 1 draw, 1 loss. Let's start with your opening day draw. Like, what was your take on that?
Well, like I said, I was in Turkey, so by the time I actually got signal and I managed to log on, I think we were about 16 minutes in, if I remember rightly. And in the City group chat from a few of the guys who went, it was quite negative. And then until maybe the 20th minute mark, I could see where they were coming from. We were under the cosh a bit, and then from then on, we really controlled the game. I can't remember any sort of chances or major chances Hull had. We had a lot of the ball. The amount of times we got to into the final third, but on the edge of the box, and just like I said, didn't have that final pass. It was just a bit frustrating. And then late on in the second half, Mayulu came on for Armstrong. He scored a brilliant goal in the 83rd, 84th minute, I think. Chested it down, volleyed it. No look, I think, as well. So it was a very good finish. And then, I was saying to the guy I was watching it with, last season we went there, drew 1-1. So it's nice to see us improving from last season. But 30 seconds later, 89th minute, Joe Williams on a yellow card for no reason whatsoever has just jumped up and barged this whole player over and given away a penalty. And it's just so unnecessary. And then obviously they score that and we only come away with a point. But it's those sort of games that if you want to be up there, you've got to be hanging on to that. So it's frustrating, but it wasn't a bad performance. And I think the same sort of said about yesterday in the cup. First half, I don't want to say we created chances because we didn't create goal scoring chances, but we got in and around the box so many times in the first half and even parts of the second half, but we just didn't have that end product. So it's a weird one. Second half, Coventry brought on some of their sort of main starting boys in the league, and they grabbed a hold of the game, and we were under the cosh a bit. And obviously they scored a really good goal on the counter attack, I think it was. So what it is what it is. But at the end of the day, it is in both the games it is sort of our fault. If you're going 70, 80 minutes, the better side and not scoring, then it's always going to come in it.
Yeah, and I think getting a draw, just sort of remove yourself from the manner in which it happened. I think getting a draw at Hull.
You take that.
And I feel like Hull were a bit of an unknown quantity this season. They had such a very odd summer. From an outsider looking in, I expected them to, especially with the players they lost, to go out and sign lots, and they still might, but yet to do that. So I think they're a bit of an
should have done
unknown
better last
quantity.
season, shouldn't they, as well?
They should have been in the top 6.
Should have made the playoffs.
They should have done. A good side, to be fair, last season. And then Coventry, I actually tipped them to be in the top 2 this season. So I think I think they're a really good side. So there's no disgrace there. Did you make many changes to your game yesterday? I did look at your lineup, and it felt like a 70% full strength side. Is that fair?
Yeah, no, I completely agree with that. I was speaking to a Coventry fan outside the ground before, and we both sort of said both City and Coventry have got to the point this season where we've basically got 2 starting 11s that could do okay in the Championship. And I think that's basically what we played. We made a few changes, 4 or 5 maybe, if that, from the league game at Hull. But I mean, bar Stefan Badgett coming in goal, that side could probably, do a job in the Championship. And some of the players that played in the cup that maybe wouldn't get in our starting 11 for the league now, if we were full strength, they were starting last season under us. So yeah, I'd probably say about 70% is fair, and I think that's sort of same with Coventry. And then obviously, the substitutions that Coventry made and that we made probably did change the game. They brought on 3 of their top Championship stars, and Ellis Sims came on and scored, obviously, and we're bringing on the likes of Harry Cornick. No offense to him, but he's not quite Ellis Sims or Stuart Armstrong in that manner.
Yeah, I mean, Coventry's, particularly in attacking areas, their strength in depth is ridiculous. I look at it enviously, and I think Millwall fans listen to this. We certainly don't have 2 11s that would do well in the Championship. We barely have 1 available at the moment. So, we'll touch on that in a minute. But who's your one to watch for Millwall fans on Saturday? Who's the one that we should be looking out for and will cause us problems?
Again, it's a weird one because we're still not sure on that full starting 11, and all the talk about the 2 attacking midfielders coming in is sort of shaking up a bit, and people are coming out with 3 or 4 different starting 11s they could play. I think, like we touched on earlier, I think the strikers are going to be the ones to cause problems. It's so far Manning's been playing, one of them alongside Nahki Wells, which surprised me a bit. But Nahki Wells seems to be doing a lot better with that sort of big, strong striker next to him, and he's been causing teams problems. So I think if I had to pick one now, this early in the season, it's probably got to be the 2 strikers. But then I think our midfielders play a massive part. And Mark Sykes hasn't impressed yet this season, but obviously last season at times he was unreal. So, if he turns up on a good day, then he'll cause you a lot of problems. Similar with Anis Mehmeti on the other side. And then I think that the sort of central midfield as well, Joe Williams and Jason Knight and Max Bird, who came in the summer as well. He's looked very good in pre-season and so far in the last 2 games as well. So I'd probably say the 2 strikers I'm hoping will cause you problems, but then I think again it's going to come from the midfield as well to sort of feed them strikers in to cause you problems, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think you touched on there, quite a few names, and one of them was Mark Sykes, and I have to say, I thought he was excellent last season. You beat us 1-0 at the Den, and I can't remember if he scored or
Matty James scored.
It was Matty James, but I felt that Mark Sykes gave us a torrid time for the majority of the game, and whenever I've seen him, I've been really impressed. He's very direct, quick. So
he was very good last season.
Yeah, he'll be.
He hasn't hit that form yet, though. He was poor on Tuesday. I thought it wasn't that he played badly. It was just his decision making in the final third. Like my head went last night, and it wasn't because it was a bad performance, but it was just, like I said, we were just one pass off, scoring 2 or 3 in the first half, and the majority of times Mark Sykes would get the ball on the right hand side. It was, and then just be closed down instantly and not not managed to do anything with it. So that will obviously come with time playing with the new strikers. Because obviously last season it was Tommy Conway, who obviously wouldn't have wanted that ball whipped in the box. But now we've got, I like to say, a 7-foot striker, but he's obviously not. But you know what I mean? It's a tall, strong striker in the box.
Target man. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're certainly missing.
If we can start just whipping the ball in the box a bit more, then, you know, Armstrong and Mayulu are going to win headers, aren't they? Let's be real. They're 6'4", 6'5". They're going to win headers, so we just need to be whipping the ball in the box. But as soon as Mark Sykes starts hitting some form, I think, we'll be a much better side. But he hasn't got that quite yet. Hopefully he does on Saturday.
Well, mate, I personally hope not, but we shall see. Who do you have as your top two in the Championship this season? You touched on there that you've got Coventry to go up. Like, who's your top two?
I sort of had a top 6 that I think could have been so interchangeable, which would have been Leeds, Coventry, Sheffield United, Luton, Burnley, and then there's always one outsider, isn't there? So, you know, like last season, you had Norwich up there. You've had West Brom and Middlesbrough up there the last few seasons as well. I'm not sure who that'll be yet. But, I mean, people talk about Sheffield Wednesday up there. I think they'll be fine, but I don't see them pushing the top 6. But top 2, I think after the first game week, Burnley will win the league. You don't go to Kenilworth Road and win 4-1 that comfortably and not be in the top 2 come the end of the season. So I'd go Burnley. And, you know, their bench the other day was mental as well. We've got Manuel Benson, for me. He doesn't even come on. And last time in the Championship, he was ripping the Championship apart. So Burnley, I think, win the league. I think they'll be unstoppable this season. I did back Coventry, but from hearing what a few Coventry fans said the other day and seeing how they played on Tuesday, they'll be up there, but whether they make top 2, I think it's just going to come down to who hits form. You know what I mean? I mean, like Southampton last season, 26 game unbeaten after a poor start. So it's just me. It's just, I think Burnley are sort of guaranteed, and that'll be just whoever hits form. So I think it'll personally be one of Leeds, Coventry, or Sheffield United.
Yeah, I think that's a safe assumption. I've certainly got Coventry to be in my top 2, but I think that's predicated on them keeping their squad. And there's a lot of rumours around Gustavo
and staying fit as well.
Gustavo Hamer, Ben Sheaf potentially going. So yeah,
he's injured at the moment. Actually, I think that's what one of them was saying yesterday. That was a loss.
Yeah. So we shall see. Tell us then your bottom 3.
Oh, I did a video for a Plymouth fan at the start of the season, and I got stuck for 5 minutes trying to think of the bottom 3. I've got to go off the first game week, don't I? So Oxford have won 2 and 2 though, and they were sort of my guarantee to go down. I think Plymouth will go down. I didn't have them at the start of the season to go down. I thought they'd, similar to last season, they'd just scrape it, but I just don't see it. I don't see them sacking Rooney until at least October time, and I think the damage will be done by then. So I think Plymouth will go down. I think one of the new boys has to go down. I think Portsmouth will be okay. They look good at Leeds. So it'll be one of Derby and Oxford, or possibly both. And then, again, I had Blackburn to be down there as well, and they went and beat Derby 4-1. So I'd probably go Plymouth, Derby, and then people talk about Watford. How did they get on in the first game week? I can't remember.
Beat us.
At the Den as well, wasn't it? 3-2, wasn't it?
Yeah.
How did they look?
Sorry?
How did they look?
I think, you know, and I'm a very pragmatic Millwall fan, so this isn't coming from a place of bias. I don't know how we lost the game, to be totally honest. Their first goal straight in from a corner, which is just a goalkeeping error. Their second one is a super free kick, you know, and then their last one was offside. So it's, you know, genuinely, I don't know how we didn't win that game, let alone not draw it. We were really poor in the first half. I think the emotions of, we pay tribute to Matty Sarkic, our goalkeeper that we lost in the summer. Yeah. I think the emotions of the players probably took over them in the first half. They were not at it. We went in 1-0 down, and then second half we were really good. And I really don't know how. I don't know how we lost it. I think a draw would have been at the very least we deserved. So that's it. But in terms of Watford, they looked okay. They won the game ultimately, so fair play to them. But I still think there'll be a bottom 8 side. And being transparent with you, I think we will be unless we sign more players. I think our squad is so threadbare at the moment, Ben. It is ridiculous, and it needs addressing very, very quickly. We have one of the smallest squads in the league, and we have the oldest squad in the league. You put those two things together, and that's a recipe for disaster. So, yes, mate, that's kind of where we are. What, and you can be honest. What's your point of view on Millwall and how you think we'll fare this season?
It's a weird one because I said to everyone at the start of the year, this season's gonna be, you'd have a top 10 in the Championship, and then you're gonna have a massive gap between the rest of the league. And I think you've got a couple of clubs that have been in the division a long time now, who are just gonna start dropping off. I think Millwall are one of them. Like I said, I think Watford are one of them. I think Blackburn are one of them. I think us and Preston will sort of stay in that mid-table where we've been the last couple of seasons. But I think Millwall, Watford and Blackburn are just going to keep on going further down the league until either something changes or they end up in a relegation battle. And I think last season, obviously, you weren't sort of in a relegation battle, but you at times were sort of down there. And like you said, oldest squad in the league, smallest squad in the league. It's just not going to end well, is it? And I mean, is Joe Bryan still starting at left back for you guys?
He is, and I would imagine he'll start on Saturday. He's a difficult one, mate. He's a real difficult one because he blew hot and cold, more cold than hot last season in his debut season. It's then come out over the summer that was playing with quite a bad injury the whole season. So I kind of expected to see a very different Joe Bryan in the first 2 games, and I don't think I have. He's one of those players that you can tell has a lot of quality in terms of, you can tell he's got Premier League pedigree, but I just don't know. There's something I can't quite put my finger on with Joe Bryan. But hey, you can't judge someone 2 games into a season, one of them being a cup game. So we shall see. But I would imagine he'll definitely start on Saturday. But give me your starting 11. Who do you think you'll start? You touched on some names there, but what do you think your starting 11 will look like on Saturday?
Yeah. Well, firstly, I love Joe Bryan at City, so I'm glad to see he's still doing okay. And hopefully he doesn't have a good game on Saturday, but then rest of the season he can have a blinder. As for us, like I said earlier, it's with the new players coming, I don't think we've got the proper starting 11 just because of the amount of decent players we've got. And I mean, it's a problem we've never really had at City. We've always, the last 4 or 5 years, we've always had a sort of starting 11, and then if one of them gets injured, we're in a spot of bother. So it's quite nice now to have that sort of quality backup in a sense. I don't think there'll be many changes from the starting 11 against Hull.
Right.
So let me just find that, and I can tell you what I'd change if I was Liam Manning. So at Hull we had O'Leary, Pring, Dickey, Viner, Tanner. I'd be surprised if he changes anything about that back line. The only thing possibly would be Roberts in for Pring, but I don't see it. I think he'll stick with that. And then midfield 3 probably stay the same as well. Max Bird, Jason Knight, and Joe Williams. I'm pretty sure that will stay the same. And then up front we had Mehmeti, Sykes, and Armstrong as sort of a front 3. But then, like I said, it was changed to sort of Nahki Wells with Armstrong, or it was in the cup game anyway, and that seemed to work all right. I don't think it'll change much. The only thing that might change is the striker. Really, he'll switch between Mayulu and Armstrong until either he plays them together or one of them just hits form, basically. So I think that'll sort of be it. The defense will be the same. Like you said, Viner and Dickey is a centre back partnership and quality for us over the last season or 2. Pring and Tanner are decent fullbacks. Midfield three's looking good. I like look of Max Bird. Jason Knight, obviously new captain. He was quality for us last season, so hopefully that can stay up. And Joe Williams, still a bit annoyed at him for that challenge at Hull, but again, he's been quality for us the last few seasons, so can't really put him down too much. And then Mehmeti and Sykes, like we said earlier, on their day can cause a ton of problems. I think Mehmeti's looked quite good in pre-season. So Sam Bell, but I think he came off a bit of an injury on Tuesday. So I'd expect it probably will be Sykes and Mehmeti, and then it's a weird one. I don't know who I'd play between Fally or Armstrong on Saturday, because obviously they're similar players, but Armstrong's got more championship experience, and Millwall are one of those sides that will bully you, especially the strikers. You're not going to have much room to play, so maybe Armstrong just because he sort of knows that sort of way of playing, but then it might be nice to have something different that maybe Millwall might have to have a few challenges coping with. So it'll be that, and then maybe the odd change or two, especially whoever Manning picks up front, really.
Yeah, I think our defenders would prefer to play against Fally than against Armstrong, to be honest, because they're not the quickest. And Japhet Tanganga, who's our sort of marquee signing, if you like, over the summer, is still suspended. So it'll be Sean Hutchinson and Jake Cooper, I would imagine, at the back. Sean Hutchinson actually scored against you last year and got the winner, but he's not yet fully fit, and he's another year older. So we'll see how he deals with the pace of the game. But Ben, I now need to ask you your score prediction on Saturday. So in the last few years, Ashton Gate for Millwall has been quite a happy hunting ground. I'm not going to reveal my score yet, but I don't see us winning on Saturday, if I'm being really honest. But give me your score prediction, and assuming you do have goals, tell us who'll be the goal scorers.
If we get goals is the main question. I mean, coming into this before our chat, I thought Millwall would come out. It'll be a really tough game, but you've given me a bit of confidence after this chat.
My pessimism has given you confidence.
Yeah, I really don't know, because, like you said, it's so early in the season. I mean, we could just turn up and it'd be the best game we've played in seasons, especially with the new site. Like, if our strikers are on form, they get 2 in the first half, then we could be in for a really good game. Although I don't think that will happen. I think that's literally just a dream. So I'll go for, I want to say 2-1, but I'm just trying to think if I see us scoring 2. Yeah, go on. I'll go 2-0. I'll back us for a 2-0. I think our defense is solid, and we'll somehow manage to pick a goal out. And I'll go for whoever the striker is to score, so Armstrong or Fally, and then Rob Dickey from a corner. Why not?
Okay. All right. So you're going 2-0. I'm going to go same amount of goals, but I'm going to have them even. So I'm going to go 1-1. I think that we'll take the lead, and it will be, I'm going to copy you, a corner, big Jake Cooper up from the back, bang, 1-0. And then you'll get a goal back and you'll bombard us, but we'll somehow just about escape with a draw, which, if I'm honest with you, given the state of the squad, I probably would take at the minute. Millwall fans listening to this probably think that I'm being a little bit too pessimistic, but 3 games in a week for a squad, as I say, that is very, very threadbare. It's a small squad anyway, but then you add on Zian Fleming, who's been our main man for the last couple of years. He's injured. Javed Tanganga suspended. Billy Mitchell injured. And an aging squad trying to produce 3 games in a week. So I would probably take a point now. And if that's the case, I'll be cutting some shapes in Bristol, I'm sure, after the game. So we shall see, mate. We shall see. Are you going to the game on Saturday?
Of course. Yeah, I'll be there.
Good lad. And you'll be doing one of your vlogs then, because I just want to give you the opportunity to share with the viewers how they can learn more about your YouTube channel.
Yeah, so Well, depending on how the game goes, like I started doing one on Tuesday, and then it was the most boring game of football I've seen. But yeah, no, I will be doing a vlog on Saturday. Sort of, I try and speak to a few fans beforehand. I'm sure I'll catch up with you before the game as well, see what they're thinking, and then sort of, showing fans the atmosphere of Ashton Gate and the sort of match day experience. I do that home and away every game for Bristol City. So yeah, I'll be doing that on Saturday, and it's just Robinonstour on YouTube if anyone wants to check it out. I'm sure if you guys win it, a lot of Millwall fans will be. I've had that over the years of opposition fans coming after we've conceded a last minute winner, and it's just it's fun supporting Bristol City.
Well, mate, I mean, let's see how we end up on Saturday. But just a big thank you for you coming on, mate. Really, really appreciate it. And we'll put your link to the channel in the description. And after Saturday, I wish you all the best for the season. And I'm sure we'll catch up before the game on Saturday.
Definitely, yeah. Well, thank you for having me. Safe travel to the Millwall fans. How many are you bringing?
Don't know yet. Actually, it's not been announced. I'd like to, given it is a 3:00 kickoff, which there's few and far between. Given it's a 3:00 kickoff, it's a good night out at Bristol. That's why I always try and prioritize it if I can. I'd like to see over 1,000, to be honest. I really would. But we took 900 to Pompey yesterday, so we'll see.
That's quite good going for a cup game, especially when you're playing them again in the league. I mean, Coventry brought 2,500 down, which is mental. Jesus. But yeah, well, safe travel to the Millwall fans coming down, and yeah, hopefully see you all for the game. And after full time, wish you all the best for the season.
Likewise. Well, thanks, Ben, for coming on, and we'll speak
anytime. Have a good one.
Thanks everyone for listening. Cheers. Bye for now.
This podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.